So, books in computer science are, you'd be forgiven for thinking that books in computer science are totally irrelevant. I enjoy underlining and highlighting. I enjoy having a physical thing to turn pages in to give me the illusion of progress. I like the designs of covers, and I like the organizational structure of chapters. I enjoy it. I like the way it makes a definitive and bold statement about the state of an art, whether that art be mathematics or something else in a given point in time. This is just a quick dispatch to I guess, remind myself and inform you. I can't imagine why you'd be interested in this, but of the books on computer science that I have in my possession. These books have been acquired over the course of 7-8 years, and some of them I haven't looked at in a good number of years, but they're all fairly cool still. Even the ones that seem less poetic and more just strictly business. Business is poetry. Business is interesting. Business is interesting to many people more than poetry ever could be. Maybe business is poetry and vice versa. So we have this book on discrete mathematics and its applications by Kenneth H. Rosen. The press is McGraw-Hill. Your classic. This is a tank. It's how many pages we got in this thing? Do we have an index of answers to questions? I hope we do. Yeah, I think we do. I think it's answers to some questions. Yeah, we're looking at 900 pages before we even get to the solutions to problems. It's about sets and operations on sets and relations of sets. I think there's even some stuff on programming languages in here. There's stuff on graphs, directed and undirected. There's stuff on ordering functions. Which functions go faster than others. Yeah, the growth of functions. That'll be the chapter on that, where which functions grow faster than others. I don't remember about the cardinality of sets. I feel like maybe some of these early chapters were skipped. I feel like stuff in this chapter can be really welcoming and easy. And then I think this may have been a skipped chapter the first time I considered this book. And then there are, proofs are a big part of this book, inductive proofs. And there's stuff about trees in there, which is going to be interesting to you, no matter who you are, I think. No, it's not going to be interesting to you, no matter who you are. But it's just a good comprehensive book, and it's your classic textbook that has really good chapters that contain a lot of illustrations and names of people. Look at this. Ada, Countess of Lovelace, Augusta Ada, Countess of Lovelace. And this tells you all about her studies and her marriage, and this is a fascinating character. And here you go, and then on the other page you've got these examples that'll walk you through how to solve problems in propositional logic and get familiar with that. Show that things are tautologies. It's just really interesting stuff. This is a book that you put on your shelf and don't really read because you're I live life. I just want to smell the flowers. I don't really want to care about this, but it's cool. It's an achievement in human thought. This is another textbook by Bryant and O'Halloran. A Pearson textbook on computer systems. Randall E. Bryant and David R. O'Halloran. Carnegie Mellon. And this book contains a bunch of stuff on the physical layout of disks and spindles in a computer, and the way memory is actually stored physically and virtually, how it's all represented on a systems level, where arithmetic is done, you know, how assembly code works, like endianness and things like that, arrays. I remember a lot of difficult things in this about like network programming and like sockets and things like that. I feel like that's in here somewhere. Yeah, sockets and bind, listen. This is all like really, it's really interesting to know. It's kind of difficult to like fully remember, but I guess that's why we have books, is like we keep it all in a book so that we don't have to remember everything too closely. And then there's chapters on concurrent programming, and there's stuff about threads that I remember being pretty mind-bending. I don't really like that one as much as the discrete math one, but I found this one somewhere, machine learning for hackers. I think it's just like stuff about R, wants to teach you R, and give you a bunch of like examples of things to do in R, and things to improve. Like I think there's something about like email priority, and something about not overfitting, and not like learning too much, I guess. Very interesting, and I should probably crack that open and brush off my skills with R, you know, sometime soon. This is the classic, the Kernighan and Ritchie C programming language. I recommend this for every boy and girl. I mean, of course, like it's free. I think it's free online, or like it's easy. It's like you can just get a PDF. But I have a paper copy. You know, what does that say about me? This is an utterly perplexing book, Automata and Computability, but it's really cool. It makes you feel like a cool mathematician, flipping through here and trying to make head or tail of these things. I remember first time I considered this book, I just found it kind of like unreadable. Like it was skipping some things that, I don't know, some steps I needed to see in order to know how to do these kinds of, to write these kinds of beautiful bits of notation. You know, this whole study of automata and programming languages is basically just a work of visual art, but it's also, of course, like foundational engineering, you know. So Cozen, that kind of sounds like Rosen. Maybe there's like a naming convention for people who know a lot about computers. This book actually like closes on a discussion of the lambda calculus. So I feel like in other books where the lambda calculus is just sort of thrown at you as something, as something that you take for granted, this book I think seeks to derive it more, give you sort of more of the background to it, I guess, because it shows up in a later chapter. Oh, this is a book, I think it's all about the lambda calculus. Types and programming languages. Yeah, it's just about like types and type checkers and a bunch of stuff about recursive types, different kinds of types, how to understand when types mismatch, and a bunch of other stuff. I'm selling this book short. MIT Press, another good one, worth revisiting. Oh, here's like an only business book, Cracking the Coding Interview. This is actually kind of a useful book. I got it, like, I was kind of skeptical, but then its bit on SQL actually convinced somebody that I memorized its bit on SQL, and then I was able to convince somebody that I knew SQL, I think, a little better than I did at the time. Oh, this is one of my first ever books on computer science that I ever got. How to Design Programs, An Introduction to Programming and Computing. It gives you a bunch of just things to do in, I think, this language Scheme, which was a language that more, you know, these aren't like actual languages that people use, but it's I remember these, like this parentheses stuff, all these parentheses you had to match. Scheme isn't a language that people use, but neither is Racket, which is the language that I use that's sort of like Scheme, or it's like almost identical to Scheme that we used when I was first looking at this book. I think this is published around like 2001. Anyway, it just gives you some things to think about, you know, a new insight, a eureka. So I don't know how many people have enjoyed this video, but you know, here it is. This is like I'm pretty sure this is all of the books that I currently have in like my library of like physical books on computer science topics. All right, thanks for watching.